And so you've been telling your men for 50 years you don't need you, that we don't need you. What do you think that looks like when it comes to you getting jumped on in front of the men that you say you don't need? What do you think that looks like? Now, I'm not saying all the women say this shit, but it's the majority of you, and it's definitely the dominant narrative. The dominant narrative from black women is not we respect black men. It's not we need you, black men. We need you as fathers. We need you as husbands. It's not that I'm going to get married before I have children. What you ladies say is you don't give a shit what we think. You don't care what we think about the wigs, the eyelashes, the weaves, the tattoos, the over sexualization, the OnlyFans, the Instagram, the half naked clothes. Y'all don't give a shit what we think. Okay, cool. I accept that. I'm not going to argue with you. I don't think if you don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. That's fine. If you don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. That's fine. I'm just telling you that what comes along with that. What does it look like for you to move through the world? If this is how you want to relate to your men. If you're the type of woman where this is the type of shit you say, I'm single, I'm independent, I don't need a man. I want a man, but I don't need a man. If I wanted to make a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I need jelly and I need fucking peanut butter. But you think you can make a family without a husband. And then you expect a man to make a commitment to work for you, live for you, kill for you, die for you to somebody who says I can fucking take it or leave it. He would have to be a goddamn fool. You ladies are saying this shit nonstop. The Asian women aren't saying it. The Arab women aren't saying it. The Latino women aren't saying it. But then when it comes to protection, now you want to do a comparison. We need wives, not marches and protests. My cousin's gonna come here. They'll unalive you. I believe men do owe protection. I'm gonna close on this story. All right, so I'm partial to the military too, just like leadership was. All right. One of the things I went through SEER training. So I went through SEER training because I was a flyer. If you're a flyer, meaning that you have to get on a plane for your job, then there's a chance you can crash land, go and be captured as a POW. So they teach you how to survive if you crash land, and then they teach you how to deal with interrogation. So I went through that training through the United States military. All right. I ate beetles, worms, ants, tree bark, grubs. I was out in the woods for a undetermined period of time that I can't disclose because you can't really talk in depth about the training. But I'll tell you this about the training. They did a whole bunch of stuff. After we survived being out in the wilderness, then they took us into the simulated POW camps where they beat us and tortured us regularly. Do you know the thing is that if you talked, if you did anything other and talked about your involvement in service beyond name, rank, and serial number, if you talked, then every ass whooping you took before you talked was worth nothing. You might as well have just spoke the first time. And all the ass whippings that everybody else was taking and all the torture that they was going through, being waterboarded until you were fucking unconscious, being left out in the cold, sprayed with a high pressure fire hose, butt naked, and all the other things that they do that I can't even talk about. When you go through this type of intensive training, if you wash out, they won't let you go through it again. You can only do it once. Whenever you graduate from a training, they pin a ribbon on you. The ribbon ceremony for SEER training, they don't let the people who trained you pin the ribbon on you because the training is so intense that when people are going through their ribbon pinning ceremony in front of their commanding officer, they try to fucking kill the man that they saw in training that did to them what they did. That's how intense the training is. So they have a different set of instructors pin you and graduate you when you get through the training. And if you talk, then everybody who took an ass whooping and got tortured might as well have just talked up front. Do you know the one thing that they use to get people to talk? Do you know how they get the most people to talk? They take a woman and they simulate a grape in front of you. They beat her. They force themselves on her. That's what breaks the man. It is our divine mission to protect women. But You don't want to hear this because accountability is like fucking kryptonite. But what did you think you were going to get when the men accepted that you were single and independent and you don't fucking need anybody? What do you think your protection looks like? You have undone something natural in your sons. You have undone something natural. They think you're their equals. You're not our equals. You're not an equal. I have a greater responsibility to you than you have to me, so you cannot be my fucking equal. I don't need your protection. I need your cooperation. Now, for me, I don't have any problems like this in my life. I have a girlfriend. She's submissive, cooperative to me. We get along great. We went over to my brother's house today and hung out at the pool. I had my kids. They hung out at my little brother's pool. We barbecued chicken and shit. Had a whole bunch of my homeboys over. We listened to music and shit. Had some drinks. Had a freestyle session and shit. It was dope. We had a great time with the kids playing in the backyard. Play volleyball and shit. It was dope. I don't have these types of problems in my life. I don't deal with this type of drama and this type of bullshit anymore in any capacity. But you ladies, you got what you asked for. You got what you asked for. You are independent. I think it's fucked up. I don't want that for you. But the problem is you don't get to pick and choose what parts of men who think they should be in leadership. You don't get to pick and choose that shit. It's not a fucking buffet. If you don't want men to lead and a man can't tell you shit and you're single and you're independent, and you don't need a man, then you out here. If you don't want to go from the protection of your father's house to the protection of a husband's house, no problem. You want to fuck your way through your 20s? No problem. You want to be maverick? No problem. But it is not up to random black men to put their ass and nuts on the line for random black women. Abort male black babies in the womb. That's a platform. That's a platform, ladies. And guess what? Last year, 330,000 abortions in the black community. A great portion of the women are fighting actively for the right to kill their children inside of their womb. The way they get around it, they do a psychological trick. They just never call them babies. They just call them a fetus so that they don't have to admit that the one place in the whole world where it is completely your responsibility to protect the child, you're unaliving it. And then even when children get out of the womb, do you know who the number one perpetrators of infanticide are? Guess who? Guess who unalives children at twice the rate of men? Ding, 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 ding. Ladies, there's a whole lot. Like I heard a whole lot of shit about women talking about how men are so abusive. I'm gonna post something into the chat right here for you ladies, and if you want to, you can go ahead and read through this study. This is one of the most comprehensive and largest studies that has ever been done on domestic violence between interpersonal romantic partner, IPV. And guess what it states? It says that in relationships of unilateral abuse, unilateral, that means that it only goes one way, from either male to female or female to male. They're not mutual combatants. They're not both fighting each other, where it's just one person abusing the other. Women are 63%, 63% of the time in unilateral abuse situations is from the woman to the man. Y'all slap, poke, punch, push, pop, throw shit, yell, passive aggress, lie, gaslight, manipulate. Y'all do that shit more than men do. And that's what the numbers say. I'm not saying it as an opinion. I just posted the study. If you want to take a look through it, it's there. The information is there. It's recent. It's a study that included like 160,000 people, like across 5 different cultures. Men and men have the lowest domestic violence. Gay men have the lowest domestic violence. The second lowest is a man and a woman. Do you know what the highest instances of domestic violence is? 2 women. Y'all beat the shit out of each other. So y'all act like by removing men from your lives, you're going to remove violence. But the truth of the matter is y'all violent too. Y'all just ain't as good at it because you're not big or strong. It's like fucking bird wings hitting you or something. And I want to turn something around really quick. There's a whole bunch of women saying, I heard one of the women say, if I saw a woman getting jumped on by a man, I would pull out and I would unalive that man. Okay, I get it. You know, a man could unalive a woman with one punch. I get it. But I want you to understand how that sounds. Imagine a man saying, if I saw a woman jumping on a man, I will pull out and unalive that woman. You see, y'all don't give a shit about our lives. That's why you're comfortable with your daddy dying for some random woman, not knowing if she was running her mouth or she gonna be sleeping with him later that night. You don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about your sons doing it. You guys want us as wind up dolls. And that's what the red pill space is all about. Red pill content creators, you think they out here to bash women. They're not. The difference is, the thing is that what you ladies tell yourself about who you are and what you actually are, what you respond to, are two completely different things. And men have figured this out, right? Now, young men, when they come to this knowledge, they have to figure out what they're going to do about it. What do you mean? Everything she's telling me has almost nothing to do with what she actually responds to. And here's the proof. A lot of you ladies, you sit up and talk all this emotional intelligence bullshit. When we look at your baby daddy, the nigga can't spell restaurant. So like, you care about emotional intelligence, but the truth of the matter is, you like what you like. You into what you into, right? You ain't got no dad there to vet the man because your mama was single and independent. And she liked a pookie low life too, right? Nobody can tell you anything. No problem. You get what you get. You don't get to not follow anybody and complain about leadership. You don't get to not follow anybody and then complain about leadership.